Welcome to Red Rank Podcast. I'm your host, The Crow Show, home of the smoothest voice on Twitch. Just a friendly reminder, you can find me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, among others. And on Spotify, you can leave a star rating on the app itself. Please do your best. Leave a 5-star rating. I'd really appreciate that. You can leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, and that helps me out a great deal. We have been climbing the ranks of Dead by Daylight podcasting, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. I wanted to start off by just thanking everybody. We reached 10K downloads on Red Rank Podcast. I didn't know what to expect when I first started this podcast. But the support so far has blown me away. It's been amazing. Like, I'll be on my Twitch stream and I'll get the occasional person who pops in and they're like, "Hey, I found your podcast on Spotify," and we have a chat about the podcast, and that's super cool. So my commitment is to deliver the best podcast I can, to continue to inform, and to continue to entertain anyone willing to give their time, because your time is precious. My time is precious. The last thing I want to do is waste your time. So I really hope that I continue to deliver a quality experience for those of you willing to listen. And thank you. Thank you for 10,000. I really appreciate it. And also, just a heads up, we are posting the podcast episodes on YouTube with video. So if you want to see my mug on YouTube, you can do that. And when it's possible and when necessary, I'll add like graphics and screenshots when it relates to Dead by Daylight updates and news. So if you can go to youtube.com/The Crow Show, or just search The Crow Show on YouTube. I'll also include a link in the show notes that takes you to all of my links, including my TikTok, my Twitter, Twitch, and my YouTube, and other fun stuff. And the nice thing with YouTube is that if you want to interact with the podcast and with me, you can just leave comments, and a number of you have been doing that lately, so thank you. I appreciate that. So this week has been a little bit slow. The Dead by Daylight usually has a PTB, the player test build, ready to go this week, but they didn't have a PTB this week. So they said the next PTB will be a little different than usual and does not begin this week. We have an early preview of an exciting new feature to share, but it's not yet ready to go live with the following update. We look forward to sharing more details later this week. So they posted that yesterday. I'll be curious to see what that new feature is. I'm not one for speculation, so I'll be avoiding that at this time. If you have any ideas, let me know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So because this week's a little bit slower, I just wanted to talk about something that a lot of the bigger content creators have been talking about this week, and just the fact that Dead by Daylight has been very stressful to play and stream for bigger content creators. Cheaters are running rampant in Dead by Daylight, and they hold games hostage. They'll do stuff like prevent all the gens from getting fixed, and among other things. They grief larger content creators like Spookinjukes, Otsdarva, and Spooky Loops. Now, since Dead by Daylight has a disconnect penalty, it's really hard for them to avoid this situation. If they disconnect, they'll get a DC penalty. And I think it starts out at 5 minutes and it climbs incrementally after that. So you disconnect 2 or 3 times and you're looking at a very long DC penalty between rounds. I really hope Dead by Daylight comes up with a solution for this soon. Cheating is in every game, let's face it. But let's hope something comes soon so these bigger content creators can enjoy this game the way the rest of us do. There's also rumors that there's IP address and DDoS vulnerabilities in Dead by Daylight, and maybe they weren't fixed, but we haven't heard anything concrete on that. Now, let's hope that Dead by Daylight addresses these very serious issues. So when it comes to content creation, I've always been told it's a really good idea to every now and again just reintroduce yourself to the community. Some of you may have found me recently, some of you may have been here since day one. So I thought I'd just share with you a little bit about my past and roots of gaming, stuff like that. So my name is The Crow Show. I was a really big fan of Magic the Gathering. I used to play uh, a counter burn deck. So it was like blue, black, red. And it was like I would like control the board, but I didn't have any creatures in my deck. So I added Crosis the Purger. So Crosis the Purger was my big creature before I added Skizik. Yeah, I really enjoyed Crosis the Purger. I thought it was a really cool card. I loved the artwork. So when I would play video games, Counter Strike specifically, I went by Crosis 2121. I used to play like local tournaments and stuff and play on like a team. What do they call them? Clans back then. And we'd have scrims, we'd practice, we'd play in tournaments, and I was never that good. I was okay, but I was not as good as my friends, but that's fine. Anyway, there was this one round on Dust 2, pistol round. The other team charged through Catwalk, and I was counter terrorist. I aced them. They came running through, and the funny thing is, I don't know if we had voice comms back then. I think at that time I had to type "you," which I think was the team text, and I had to type "cat," hit enter, and then get back to my game. So I was telling them where they were. They came running through. I got like 2 immediately. I got another one. Another one popped out. Whole time I'm very low on health, and so the last guy peeked around the corner. I got him, and I aced the team. I got a five kills in the first round, a pistol round. I was super hype. I was like, yeah, baby, I'm the Crow Show. I'm on 24/7. So that was the origin of the Crow Show. So I gave myself my own name. So it went from Crosis 2121 to the Crow Show. And who knew that many years later it would lend itself to being a pretty good Twitch name. So other things about me, I've been a podcaster for nearly 10 years. I co-host a movie podcast called The Green Screen of Death with my buddy Sound Jam. His name's Bill. And we're looking to get back into it again real soon. I think we're recording this weekend. We basically record like recent movies and cover film festival movies, and we have a good time with that. Now, my online film criticism and movie podcast background have taken me to some really cool places like Austin, Texas, and Vancouver, BC for film festivals, as well as Whistler and maybe a couple other places. Now, at these film festivals, I've met some really amazing people and actors and filmmakers as well. People like Keanu Reeves, Elijah Wood, Robert Rodriguez, and Kevin Smith. I've been quoted in a few movie trailers and have movie quotes in a couple movie posters and ads. I'll never forget seeing a trailer that had my name on it. It was like, the critics are saying this, and seeing my name there. That was a really cool feeling. I work full time in IT, and while I'm not working, I'm sitting here in this chair creating content. And I just want to thank my biggest supporter, my wife. Sarah's been nothing but a wonderful blessing. While I'm doing all of this content creation, editing, recording podcasts, streaming 3 times a week, creating TikToks, she's here. She's in the other room, and a lot of the time, it really breaks my heart that I'm in here pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing while she's in the other room, like watching something on Netflix. So there is a lot of sacrifice there, and yeah, it's a big reason why I've considered scaling back quite a bit lately. It's like, what am I doing here? Like, what do I hope to accomplish at the end of the day? I think this whole thing would be a lot easier if I were like, I don't know, 15 years younger or something. Who knows? The first console I ever bought with my own money was a Sega Genesis. I bought the game Road Rash with that, and I put many hours into Road Rash. Super fun game, super old. Before I found Dead by Daylight, I used to play a lot of Call of Duty games, NHL as well, and I enjoyed RPGs here and there. So I've been gaming my entire life, and I've owned pretty much every home gaming console you could name, and come a long way. You think about it at the end of the day. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions for me, feel free to join the Discord. Again, links will be in the show notes. I do have a section for podcast, the Red Rank podcast. So if you want to leave any feedback, leave any questions, because I would love to have like a dedicated mailbag episode every month or two. So the Discord would be a really good place for that. So again, I just want to thank you for 10K downloads. Really means a lot to me, and I'm looking forward to wherever this takes us. So again, friendly reminder, I stream on Twitch 3 times a week. I think my schedule is Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. And yeah, I post on TikTok regularly. And while I'm streaming on Twitch, I am now multi-streaming to TikTok as well. That's been going really well. So I just want to thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the fog.